Hello, I'm Lisa Davies. I'm the breastfeeding coach. So today I'm going to show you a method from taking your baby from being bottle fed to being breastfed. This is a very unconventional method. It's one that I devised. I'm sure there may be other people out there who have done something. So it will be different to what your midwives or your health visitors have told you to do. However, I've used it a couple of times. I've had 4 children, and 2 of which I actually had to use this method from because I actually did so much bottle feeding, and if I'd really thought about it and had the amount of experience and knowledge about the physiological side of breastfeeding and the reflexes that occur in a baby, I probably would have done it for my first 2 as well. So all of my babies have had bottle at the beginning of their life for certain reasons. So I'm going to use this teddy as my example today to give you an idea of how to do it. The things that I'll kind of want to point out is bottle feeding is something that a baby will get used to. They'll get used to the positioning and they get used to the fact that it's easy, and we are inherently lazy. If something can come to us easy, then we will do it the easy way, and actually that's quite a good thing. Probably helps our survival in many aspects, but it means you have to think quite differently when it comes to breastfeeding. So the other important thing to bear in mind though is the more you resist against something, then you're going to get that push from the other side. Okay, reflexes are still there. I have transferred from bottle feeding to breastfeeding at 5 weeks. Okay, at 5 weeks my baby had been completely bottle fed, and I went over to breastfeeding. So there isn't really an issue over them losing their reflex to suck. So what typically happens is when you're bottle feeding, you kind of put the baby in the crook of your arm. So baby's head is used to being next to breast, getting the bottle being tipped up at this particular angle. They're getting your warmth, they're getting your closeness, they're getting your smell. So they generally feel, quite a lot of their factors around feeding feel right, and they're getting this milk really, really easily. Now also what happens when you're doing bottle feeding is there's not really that much interference around their head. You place their head there, you don't really touch them after that, you give them a bottle. When you go to breastfeed, and the method and the particular position that we're shown in hospital, which I'm not sure is really the best to start with, but anyway, there we are, is mainly one around getting your hand, grabbing the baby here, tucking them under your arm, bringing them over here, and putting them to your breast. Now, there's all sorts of sensory things going on here when you touch a baby's head, and their reflexes are around to move and to be sensitive to that touch around their head. So you're trying to get mouth to breast whilst you are stimulating the back of their head, which is why you find babies going like this and twitching around and not really interested in the breast, because you're stimulating all of this. Okay, so we want to take away all of that stimulation. We want to take away anything that's slightly like bottle feeding, not quite. It's either got to be completely like bottle feeding and easy, that you almost trick them into what they're doing. So this is what I've done. And you'll need a pillow. You may need 1 or you may need 2. So we'll put them, you wouldn't obviously put the pillow on top of the baby like this, but hey, this is a teddy bear. So now I've done this 3 days after a C-section, and I've actually got a bad back now. So I'm going to show you actually something you can do, and it looks awkward. It will require some kind of staying power, but ultimately this is just the beginning of the journey. You'll very quickly transition over to a normal kind of positioning. So the pillow is for the purposes of holding your baby without touching them, okay? Getting your baby to your breast without touching the head. This is so much easier, okay? And they're comfortable. So you're going to be using your hands underneath the pillow to bring them up to you as and when you need to. But you're going to be a bit of a gymnast, even if you've had a C-section. Effectively, what you're doing is be in your bedroom, do this on your own. Do it when you're calm, do it when they are not hungry. They may have had a feed a little while ago, not immediately after a feed, but not when they're hungry, okay? So if you've got a newborn, I'd be saying an hour after their feed or half an hour after their last feed actually is an okay time to begin. A bit further on, then 2 hours after their feed. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure your bra's off and everything like that. You're going to have your breasts, which if they're engorged, that's okay. You may want to express some off. You're going to want to express some milk off of your breast so that it's around the nipple, so that you can stimulate their mouth and get the taste going there. So effectively what you're doing is putting your arms underneath the cushion, and you, and in different ways, it's very difficult obviously without the weight of the baby, but you cup your breast and you bring their mouth to your breast, and you can play with the nipple a bit. You'd be a bit more stretched out than what I am actually, because I'm here doing this for the sake of video, so where I'm positioned, but you would probably be further back. And you may even need to separate your legs to get yourself down, and effectively they will take hold like that, and then you can use this arm to keep yourself up and they will suckle. Now it doesn't really matter how long they do, as long as they do something, and you celebrate that, have a happy dance, cheer your baby along. So if they take a couple of suckles, and that's more than they've ever taken. My son had no interest in sucking at all, basically didn't latch at all, and I used this technique. In the first instance he was taking kind of 5 gulps, and then it became more and more and a lot more, and actually I did a kind of a whole feed within the same day. You've got to be calm, baby's got to be calm, not too hungry, not too sleepy. It doesn't matter if you want to snuggle up to them, so spend some time in the bed, roll over and then decide to get yourself in this position. Doesn't matter if in between you have to go to a bottle feed, that's okay. It doesn't matter if you don't do it again until the next day. But the idea is you are going to mimic the bottle. This is the angle of the bottle, if you think about the crook of your arm. Okay, and this is the ease of the bottle. So the milk will just drop in. If you need to express into the mouth, you can do that. If you're engorged, make sure that you've taken some of that off, but then you've also got a good amount to be able to express into their mouth. So effectively that is the technique for transferring from bottle feeding to breastfeeding. I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. I've done it a couple of times and I know that the success is down to both the technique, the positioning, but the biggest factor is how you feel inside. Being calm about it, being okay about another day of bottle feeding. Be okay if it's 2 weeks of bottle feeding, you know you will breastfeed your baby. The whole experience is a bonding experience. This is a journey with your baby, and this is the beginning of you parenting that child or your first parenting experience. And take it in that kind of view. Get yourself comfortable with those feelings first. That's when you'll have success. If you're really unhappy and distraught at the fact that you're not breastfeeding, these factors start playing a part and your baby picks up on your energy. Okay, and they're not going to want to be around negative emotion. And this is what comes in with the problem with breastfeeding. Negative emotion, why would I want to be there? So make sure you're mastering your emotions first and then go in, making sure it's calm. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.